Okay, but I become leader. I'd never heard about this, right? Because the FBI comes and just provides it to a select few people on intel. So I asked for a briefing. Speaker Pelosi comes and has this briefing with me. What I know with what the FBI told me, he should never be on intel. And Pelosi reappointed him to intel. I don't understand this.
Have you said this to her?
Yes.
What did she say?
But this is worse. I brought a motion to the floor to remove him from intel, put another Democrat on. The Democrats all defended. They don't even have the briefing from the FBI, but they defended him having on. And think about this. He cannot get a security clearance in the private sector, but they voted to let him have the security clearance of American secrets. But this is our challenge. China has spent their time studying America in every aspect, from stealing from us, from growth of food and others, but they also watched how we fought war, okay? They watched Desert Storm. They watched it. America can move an aircraft carrier 250 miles away from anybody and come in and bomb you, right? So what did they spend their time on? Building aircraft carriers now, but they spent their time on building a missile to sink an aircraft carrier. Mm-hmm. They watched our men and women. The troops don't fight by just getting on land, they fight by space. So they spend a lot of time in space. Yeah. Do you know the other day, China sent 3 astronauts to space. Did they go to the International Space Station? Mm-mm. They went to the Chinese space station. They don't play with the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. Do you know China's landed on the moon? On the back side of the moon, the dark side of the moon. It's hard to land there. We haven't landed there. China realizes our aircraft carriers. So what did they do? They built islands. What did they do when Barack Obama asked them about them? We won't weaponize them. She said that. But what did he do? He weaponized them to push us further away. The only time our aircraft carriers in recent history were not in the strait there was during COVID. Now, can we win?
I was going to say, the question was about can we win? Yeah.
The answer is yes. Yeah. Is there a window and opportunity? Just like you started with California, can we win here? I just created 8 pillars to China based upon COVID. If there's any moment in time to wake up, to study, right? For the rest of the world to unite. Once China found they had COVID, what'd they do? They stopped flights. Not international flights, domestic flights. Mm-hmm. Then they dominated the World Health Organization to lie to the rest of the world. They hoarded PPE. Then, as it went forward and the rest of the world had it, what did they do? Well, they controlled so much mechanism what they built. When France needed PPE, even though they sent free to China, China says, we'll sell you some, but you have to have Huawei with you. They utilized COVID to get more gain within their own technology around the world. When Australia said they wanted to study where COVID came from, they went and put sanctions, tried to hurt them economically. They said the first place their nuclear weapon could hit would be Australia. They tried to intimidate what you would do. So what America should do is actually lead. Would come from strength. We should declassify the information so the entire world should know, why did 3 million people in the world die? And did they need to die? Why did 600,000 Americans die? Why did we have to in the process of COVID? The next thing I would do is end any gain of function research. And end it from this aspect. Don't give a grant to somebody else because you're going around saying my government's not giving to China, but I give to you because you give to China, right?
Can you just explain what that is very quickly?
Gain of function is what you take from a mechanism that this didn't come from, somebody ate a bat, right? They were trying to mechanize and change it, and they were studying it in the process.
So meaning us, humans, scientists are doing this. This isn't that a bat and a monkey did it and here we are. Yeah. Mm-mm.
And do we put funding into it? Well, apparently for a long time we said we didn't, but we're finding out now we probably did. Make sure the NIH, which I love, doesn't provide grants that go to North Korea, Iran. Why do we help fund our enemies, okay? Then why don't we do this? Why don't we start looking at who we're providing our visas to? How many times have we found somebody from China's over here on a visa but actually belongs to their military? How many times do we catch them on a plane that they are stealing documents? How many times have we found out that they're funding the professor at the university?
Didn't Swalwell sleep with a Chinese spy or something? I mean...
Yes. Why? Okay, that's a good question. I want to finish my 8 pillars. But let's talk about this. For the rest of the world,
Yeah.
when you get to Congress, Republicans and Democrats decide what committees you get. But there are a couple committees that are totally different. They're decided by groups and they're voted on, right? Intel committee is different than any other committee because members who serve on Intel can only serve for a certain amount of time, but they find out information all the other members can't have, okay? They're only selected by their leaders. I select all the Republicans, Pelosi select all the Democrats. I am part of what is called the Gang of Eight, right? The leaders and the leaders in Intel. We're provided information a lot of other people aren't, right? To know what's going on. So I can't talk to you about things I know, but on the Intel committee, this is all public domain we can talk about. What we know publicly, a Chinese spy, and also remember, Senator Feinstein, we found out later, the driver of more than 10 years was a Chinese spy in Silicon Valley. They've been in pictures together. This woman, a Chinese spy, creates a relationship with Swalwell when he's in the city council. He runs for Congress. She helps. She puts interns in his office. Do you know how difficult it is to get on the Intel committee? When Swalwell was put on the Intel committee, they were in the minority, so they had fewer seats. He was a sophomore getting put on the Intel committee. Every single member asked me for the Intel committee. Mm-hmm. There's very few openings, right? There's people highly qualified, there's just not openings for them. Gets put on. It's not. Then the public says that the FBI came to warn, right? They warned the leaders, they had a briefing. He's kept on the Intel committee. This woman.
They were warning them that there was a spy, basically, right?
Yeah.
I wonder how they knew she was a spy, right? She wasn't just spy, and then you had a mayor and other parts. Think about how big your spy mechanism must be if you have enough money to have a spy that cares about you when you're in the city council. Or talks about you getting to Congress.
There's some real planning
they
involved
put a long
here.
term, I mean, Manchurian candidate. Remember, Swalwell ran for president. The only thing he has left is a bunch of shoelaces or something, but I don't know. He spent the most money on that. But anyways, now you know this. You put him on, you did not know. Now you know as a leader. Okay, if Swalwell was in the private sector, he could not get a security clearance because he had a relationship with a spy. But only in America can he be given the Intel committee where he knows all the secrets. But there's 200 other Democrats who are qualified to be on that slot, and she keeps appointing. I become leader.
But is that also because they know damn well that the media is never going to call him out on it? Instead, it's, Trump Jr. had lunch with somebody 7 years ago on the Upper East Side.
Yeah.
But that's part of it, right? That they can
but what was
keep doing
Hunter
this
Biden
nonsense.
doing?
We're not. Well, I guess we're allowed to talk about that on YouTube now.
But oh yeah,
you probably.
This is probably never going to show.
Yeah, well,
this will never show.
You probably don't worry. I got locals.com and it can all go there.
Okay, but I become leader. I'd never heard about this, right? Because the FBI comes and just provides it to a select few people on Intel. So I asked for a briefing. Speaker Pelosi comes and has this briefing with me. What I know with what the FBI told me, he should never be on Intel. And Pelosi reappointed him to Intel. I don't understand this.
Have you said this to her?
Yes.
What did she say?
But this is worse. I brought a motion to the floor to remove him from Intel, put another Democrat on. The Democrats all defended. They don't even have the briefing from the FBI, but they defended him having on. And think about this. He cannot get a security clearance in the private sector, but they voted to let him have the security clearance of American secrets.
Okay, so when you say that to Nancy, when you say, Nancy, we got a problem here, there's a spy, et cetera, Nancy, just me and you in the room right now, what does she say?
She handles her own members. But you know what they did too? They went and removed Marjorie Greene for something
yeah.
Marjorie Greene said before she was ever a member of Congress.
Right, as if they don't make Nazi references every 2 seconds, these people.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.